The mess tent was alive with chatter, boots scraping against the dusty floor, mugs clinking in tired hands. And then came the colonel's voice, sharp and dismissive, cutting through the noise like a blade. His gaze lingered on the young sniper at the end of the table, her rifle propped against the wall beside her. He smirked, loud enough for the room to hear. "That's the cheapest rifle I've ever seen. Who sent you here, girl, the bargain rack?" The laughter that followed was thick and humiliating. Her cheeks burned, but she said nothing. She simply lowered her gaze, fingers tracing the scarred wood of her weapon. "Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening." The colonel thought the matter was settled. He expected her to shrink, to fade into the background like so many others had. But inside her chest, anger and memory stirred. That rifle wasn't cheap to her. It had been her father's, carried across endless training fields, polished with care after nights she could still remember hearing him hum softly by the fire. Every scratch on its surface told a story of sacrifice, of survival. Cheap? No. It was priceless. She sat quietly, but the whispers rippled. Some soldiers shook their heads, others avoided eye contact. A few pitied her. She pretended not to notice, though her hands trembled as she lifted her cup. She thought she'd never see him again, the colonel who mocked her. She was wrong. The call came at dawn. A high-value target was on the move, shielded by distance and terrain. The mission was simple in design, but brutal in execution. A sniper's shot from over a kilometer away. Failure would cost lives. As the team gathered on the ridge, the colonel stood with arms folded, still smirking, waiting for her to falter. "Let's see what your toy can do," he sneered. The wind whispered across the barren expanse, tugging at her hair, carrying the scent of gunpowder and dust. She lowered herself to the ground, pressing cheek against the worn stock of her M24. The metal was cool beneath her skin, steadying her heartbeat. Through the scope, the world narrowed into a trembling silhouette far away. She adjusted for wind, for distance, for the unseen breath of the earth itself. The colonel leaned closer, mocking still. A girl and her toy rifle. This should be good. His words cut, but she pushed them away. In that moment, there was only her, the rifle, and the mark that had once been etched by her father's hand into the steel. A Deadeye mark, his symbol of accuracy, of honor. The crowd of soldiers held their breath as her fingers settled on the trigger. Silence wrapped them, heavy and waiting. The crack echoed like thunder splitting the world in two. Dust rose from the distant ridge where the target had been. A figure collapsed. The hit was clean. Dead center. One shot. One kill. The colonel froze. His smirk dissolved, replaced by something heavier, something he could not disguise. His eyes lingered on the rifle, on the Deadeye mark glinting faintly in the sunlight. The whispers turned into murmurs, and the murmurs into applause. Men who had doubted her rose to their feet. She lowered the rifle, her hands steady now, her heart no longer racing. Yet amid the triumph, there lingered a question. Should she have proven herself to a man who belittled her? Should she have cared at all? Was it justice, or was it simply survival? The thought flickered, but then she saw the faces of her comrades, the relief in their eyes, the gratitude. They were alive because of her. That was enough. The colonel stepped forward, his voice quieter now, stripped of arrogance. "That's not a cheap rifle," he admitted, almost to himself. She met his gaze, unflinching, and for the first time. He looked away, because courage doesn't fade, it waits. And it rises when it must. And the same rifle that had been mocked beneath the dim light of a mess tent now gleamed beneath the dawn, carrying the weight of a father's love and a daughter's unshakable aim. Thank you for listening to this story. If it moved you, share your thoughts in the comments. I read every one of them. And if you believe stories of courage like this deserve to be told, make sure to subscribe. Your support keeps these voices alive.